It's going to be a very special discussion as we are marking World Environment Day today. And unlike other years, the concerns for World Environment Day for every country this year are very different because this is in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges that have doubled up because of the pandemic. Now, here's how the two are connected, the pandemic and the environment concerns. There is tons of BMW, which is called as biomedical waste, that is posing a new threat to the environment, that is posing a new challenge to various disposal methods and guidelines that have been so far followed by countries. A lot of countries have had to retweak those SOPs, and very similarly, here's what's been happening in India as well. Today, we're doing a check on what's the status of the disposal methods that are available and being followed of biomedical waste in India. There is poor infrastructure that we already know. There is lack of human resources here. There is only further aggravated the situation. There's a lot of medical waste that continues lying outside, dumped at back gates of hospitals and seen on crematorium grounds and burial grounds here as well. It has also effectively increased our plastic footprint because a lot of the biomedical waste connected to COVID-19 is plastic, be it surgical gloves, be it protective face shields, be it PPE kits that people are using now, our frontline workers are using now on a daily, hourly basis. It has also increased air pollution, which of course further still needs to be ascertained because there is an increase in the process of incinerations that are done to dispose of this biomedical waste. And is that adding to air pollution? That is another concern here as well. Now, as we know that the government of India has already formulated new SOPs, they have amended and tweaked the existing guidelines, but we still have some shocking numbers that are coming in. Biomedical waste that has increased 4 times already from the month of February to May this year itself, just in these few brief months that we are looking at. In the first 10 days of the month of May, around 200 tons of biomedical waste is being generated per day. This is, of course, further peaked with the second wave here as well. These are also figures that have peaked with the peak of the second wave. India has generated 33,000 tons of COVID waste, which was between June last year up to January this year, 2021. There are also a list of states which are producing the maximum number of biomedical waste. Top of that list is Kerala. It is generating almost 23.71 tons of biomedical waste per day. In fact, we're going to be playing out that list here of the other states. After Kerala is Gujarat next, then Maharashtra, Delhi, and Karnataka, with those figures that we have for each given states. But we also have our panel of experts to discuss this further on how to resolve this crisis. It's an issue, it's an environmental cause which has yet hit another point of crisis because of the pandemic. Let's introduce our experts here. We have Mr. Amya Kumar Sahu, who's the founder and president of the National Solid Waste Association of India. We have Mr. Pramod Dabrez, who's the environmental scientist and expert with waste management, and Professor Naresh Gupta here, medical consultant with MAMC New Delhi and president of Health Environment Foundation. Good evening. Many thanks for all of you for being with us here. My first question to Mr. Amya Kumar Sahu. This is with respect to the newer tweaked guidelines that have been announced by the government. These were announced last year in the wake of the pandemic. In your opinion, how have they worked in the past 1 year? Are we seeing any improvement to this crisis?
Well, the rule sounds good, it's fine, but there is a lack of facilities, treatment facilities in the cities. And especially in the pandemic situation, the biomedical waste, which is increases enormous, and the hospitals are full, and most of the hotels now they've converted into COVID hospital. Even you will find there are some open space there also. They have made it a COVID patients treatment. And I wonder how do they collect, and that goes for any treatment facility. It seems there is no facility, so I doubt whether this waste, whether they are disposing it with other waste or just they dump it to somewhere else. And this has to be monitored by the State Pollution Control Board and the municipal corporation or the municipalities. I mean, these are the only two authorities they should do that. And as an association, it's very difficult to monitor what is going on in the ground level. So I agree with you, and there is no adequate treatment facility in the cities. The rule is fine, but you know how to implement the rule unless there is a good infrastructure. Yes.
Okay.
And most of the
All right. So you say that rules have been tweaked, but
yeah.
Go
and
ahead,
secondly,
please.
And secondly, most of the big hospitals, they should have their own, the biomedical waste facility treatment there itself. But there also, we do not find it much. And the small hospitals, they do not have it, they can't have it. Even the small dispensaries, very small hospitals within a 10 bed or 15 bed also, it has been converted into a COVID hospital. And I wonder why they do not adopt
That's right.
some of the technology, like incinerator is one of the disposal system, but incinerator, as you rightly said, because that also should have the emission cleaning system. Otherwise, that will create air pollution.
Absolutely.
So there is another technology that is called hydroclave. The hydroclave that I know that is there in the Tata Cancer's hospital in Mumbai, and a similar thing I have seen it in Canada as well as in London. That what it does, all this biomedical waste that goes into one system, that is the autoclave. It's a huge one, and there with the very high temperature of steam is passed into that, and with that steam there is they pulverized, and that comes as just a fiber, and that is not hazardous. That can be disposed in any secure landfill. So that technology is very good.
All right. So that's one of the systems, but it is, of course, it's available in limited areas, limited hospitals
Very
here.
limited.
Mr. Pramod
Yes,
Dabrez,
yes.
would you like to step in at this point? To what extent? Yes, to what extent should we be so dependent on the system of incineration here? Because a lot of the COVID-19 biomedical waste is plastic, and we'd be burning a lot of plastic here.
Thank you very much. I think before we talk of incineration or treatment facilities or treatment technologies, we need to address how we are collecting, storing, and transporting the COVID biomedical waste. I think that is fundamental to me, because if you go and see in the localities we live in, there is hardly any facility to collect. The rules say that you have to source segregate it at the generation level itself, but people are trying to do that, and you find there is no facility at all to collect the segregated COVID waste. So that means even if you have a treatment facility, in such a scenario, the COVID waste generated, especially from the household, society, housing societies, and all such institutions, it is all going into the regular solid waste, which is a bigger concern, which should be a bigger concern for us. Talking about treatment facility, I think we have adequately okay kind of treatment facility, especially for biomedical waste, because biomedical waste as a subject, as an intervention has been much matured in the country. You know, there is a separate provision, there are separate rules, there is a separate facility, there are separate service providers who are supposed to collect from the generation level, which is hospitals, which was hospitals so far,
Right.
pre-COVID era, you can say. But immediately after COVID, the scenario has changed, and the biomedical waste, in this case, COVID-related biomedical waste, which was earlier generated only in hospitals or health center, now it is being generated at household level in a big number, and people have absolutely no clue as to what to do with that. And I would say awareness level, collection level, transportation level, there are so many gaps. In addition to having inadequate kind of
Okay.
facilities for treatment. Yeah.
That's
So that
right.
is what I.
Professor Gupta, I'm reminded of this case basis what Mr. Pramod Dabres has just said here, Professor Gupta, that the easy availability of this, because after disposal, there is no process of collection and taking away, and the extent of which hazardous waste such as this is easily available, to the extent that there was a case in Maharashtra where a manufacturing unit had to be shut down by the police because it was collecting used face masks, infected used face masks, and
Right.
making mattresses out of it and selling them as cotton mattresses.
Yes, I am shocked by it, but I am not surprised. We have been trying to tackle the biomedical waste for many years, 1986, 2016, we had the new regulations. They are very strong, very strict, and they cover all encompassing, not only the COVID, but the medicines used, their disposal, everything is there. Unfortunately, we have not been able to cope up with the regular needs of our biomedical waste disposal. And there are two ways, like the hospitals, small nursing homes, or individual centers, or even public, that they generate, they do not have full awareness nor full support. And not even the big hospitals have self-sufficient in incinerating or disposing of whichever way the individual biomedical waste component is required. So they are dependent on outsourcing it, and the outsourcing is also inadequate. The sad thing is, this COVID episode, pandemic, has overwhelmed not only the capacity of the hospitals, the diagnostics, the therapeutics, but also the biomedical waste. And one thing that we do not talk of, the COVID also had in the beginning, COVID gets excreted through the urine and more through the stool. So fecal-oral transmission, which is a big issue in healthcare, in environment, is
Right.
something that may also be playing a role, but we don't even touch upon it. So it has been so overwhelming that everybody is at a loss. Even the common COVID patient does not know whether his biomedical waste is getting collected properly within his house and then outside his house and where it goes. And as my learned predecessor said, we don't even know where it goes. And you gave this story. They make money out of the used these masks. It is, its nature has been very kind
Yes.
in a way, because the COVID that came in the beginning as SARS-1 in 2002 and 3, that had a high transmission rate from the contact and the fomites. And we have learned over a period of 1 year that this one's Corona 2, so COVID-2, is actually not getting transmitted so heavily through the contacts. So we are kind of saved. Otherwise, with this kind of a waste,
Right.
and you see these waste disposers, you have these trolleys which should be filled 2/3 or maybe not to exceed 3/4, they are overloaded and they go through the same common paths. So there are many
Right.
issues, and I agree
Absolutely.
that technology, legal framework, awareness.
Mr. Sahu, there are many aspects. Absolutely.
Yes.
Mr. Sahu, there's so many aspects here as far as COVID-19 waste is concerned, because it hits on fight against plastic, it hits on our fight against air pollution, and it also hits on trying to rein in the spread of infection. So there are multiple damages here closely connected to the environment of what we're seeing of the COVID-19 related biomedical waste.
Yes, I agree with you. As not only me, but the other gentlemen also mentioned, it is a question of in the waste, biomedical waste stream, the procedure is not followed. There is no collection, there is no segregation, there is no good transportation, neither there is a good disposal. So all these things, it needs not only the awareness, it needs the rule is there, but it has to be implemented accordingly. And we need to have the infrastructure. We need to have for infrastructure means not only the machineries or the incinerator or whatever it is, but even the people to work with that. I mean, this is suddenly it has come, no doubt, but the government should also think about it, and they should provide the infrastructure immediately. It is lacking. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with other gentlemen also. Yes.
Pramod Dabrez, why do you think this is happening? If the government of India early in the day of the pandemic, or what we'd seen last year itself, had tweaked its SOPs and guidelines, had revisited the categories of BMW, the biomedical waste that we have, and how to specifically deal with COVID-19. If the government of India was early on tapping this, why hasn't this worked on ground? Why are we looking at a record number of biomedical waste which is being produced per day? Of course, this is because of the second wave essentially here, the large numbers that have been affected here. But why is it that we've not been able to tackle it?
That the government should reply. They should respond.
Story is same story as we know about solid waste management is applicable here as well. We are not serious enough. We at every level, I'm saying, starting at the citizen level to municipality level to government level, I think there is no enough seriousness to tackle these minutes. We are not serious enough. We are not serious in creating the. Actually, we had a good enough chance to create the infrastructure required to, collect segregated COVID waste, especially from household. Why I'm emphasizing on households and societies is because that is the garbage, that is the COVID waste, which is damaging health of the health workers, sanitary workers, waste collectors, and all that. So I think we fell short in seriousness in implementing these rules and guidelines, and that has been happening since decades. It is not just COVID. That I think is the main reason. In case of biomedical waste, actually, though agencies, including National Green Tribunal, are very serious and stringent about all this. They levy heavy penalties on the defaulters or those who don't follow the rules. But unfortunately, in COVID kind of scenario, that has not happened. We fell short in implementing. We fell short in, having those kind of strict rules and regulation on the defaulters. Yeah.
Professor Gupta, final point to you here in terms of what needs to be done moving ahead, because we've lived with the pandemic for 1 year. We've seen how our health infrastructure has been stretched, overstretched, and now we are looking at how our waste disposal system is collapsing as well, is facing the brunt of it, is facing the heat of it here. What needs to be done in the coming 1 year? So at least we can do a ground check on World Environment Day next year. We could perhaps be looking at a better situation.
You're right. It is very important. Next 1 year or next 10 years, this theme is going on. We have to continue improving. I think there are certain issues in it. It is the healthcare, COVID care that was overtaking the need for the biomedical waste management, without realizing that the COVID pandemic that came in also probably emerged from the loss of diversity and the bad environments. So this environment that we are letting it go bad will create more pandemics also. So it's very important that we do it. How do we do it? It is a global problem. It's not that it is a problem only in India. Disposing of all the waste and especially biomedical waste is very, very big problem. And biomedical, everybody puts on priority. So as has been said, technology is one. Legal framework is another. We have a strong legal framework, but it must go with the support that we provide to the common small setups and the big setups. Creating awareness that its benefits are so many times much more than even, it's a preventive benefit that you are speaking of. And then you have subsidies, rewards, penalties, behavior change is another. We still don't have this full awareness, and you must give these substitutes. So if you find something is not good, we must make them aware, must provide substitute, and it is actually a very collective effort. Here, public, NGOs, all societies, civil societies, they all have to join hands and carry it forward. Right now, I think the main problem is awareness is lacking amongst the public, amongst the educated, amongst the health professionals, amongst the civil society. and the kind of benefit it can bring if we control it. And you can control it. There is so much of technology, there is so much of infrastructure, there is so much of manpower, and now we have so much of money coming in. And remember, it is science that teaches and takes us forward, whether it is COVID or it is biomedical waste.
All right. Well pointed out there, but I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at that. Appreciate you sharing your views and thoughts with us. Remember, we are, of course, bringing this to the fore on a day that we are marking World Environment Day. And it's not just India. It's on a day that the entire world, other countries as well, are marking World Environment Day. And they're each of them, similarly to what we're doing here, revisiting what has been their system of biomedical waste management and how to reduce the pollution and how to reduce the damage to the environment. While the government of India did list out certain set of SOPs and guidelines, once again, we see that we're suffering on ground, mainly because we do not have the manpower and we do not have the will to implement those newer tweaked guidelines here as well. It's important here to remember that COVID is here to stay, at least till the entire population gets vaccinated and we recover entirely from the pandemic here. And we'll have to make do with rescuing the damage to the environment parallel to the fight against COVID here as well. It is a twin fight, is what we need to remember here. Thanks for being with us. We're slipping into a very tiny break, but stay on with us. We're back in just a bit.